Hey guys, welcome to our review of Kamen Rider 01, episode 28. As always, I'm your host, Frozen Stratos. Here with me today we have...
Cinder Blaze.
My dude, welcome back. We got done watching this episode a few days ago, so that you guys could comment on it and we could talk about that, but that's for the end of the review. At the top of this, though, let's just dive into our thoughts and... Man, we're still doing this arc, huh? It's chugging along. And I will be candid. We attempted to record this review a few times, but I feel like a good starting point is, I don't know. I feel like one of the realizations I had for this episode, because I know going out of it, I was sort of mixed on my opinion, and you really did not have a good time. And like, I'm starting to realize, you know, there gets to be a point in like the progression of a character or a villain where you have to decide, or you have to sort of find out, is this character poorly written, or is he being aggravating on purpose, just because that's how, you know, he's the villain, he's supposed to be evil. But I feel like with all of these plots recently, it's gotten to the point where he actively gets in the way of a lot of characters, a lot of the good character interactions, and on top of that, we still don't have a really compelling motivation for him.
Yeah. I honestly don't know what he plans to do like afterwards. Like,
Yeah.
if he wins this bet, he ends like the show 01 essentially. Like, so there's no way that that's actually going to be what happens. There's going to be some weird thing, some weird loophole that Aruto might find. But
I mean, there's a chance that they could do an entire format shakeup and just have Aruto, I don't know, be sort of more of an underdog. And there's room for that. I'm tired of him.
yeah.
He's evil, but not a fun evil, not an entertaining evil, just a really annoying evil. And that's like on full display this episode, because he really, at the beginning of this arc, he was at least like fair, you know, he was at least being fair about the stuff. But that's certainly, something just changed. So there's this strange inconsistency with that one instance and the rest of this arc that made him that much more annoying. Like, we thought at some point he had honor, but now it's just down in the dirt, and it continues in this episode.
Yeah, it's like at one point they wanted to make this character redeemable, but now I don't think they really intend that at all. Like, they're pushing him more towards a villain rather than like a writer who will be redeemed like towards the end. So,
and it's like into the realms of unbelievability.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on the episode for me, because like sometimes it makes a moderate amount of sense, but sometimes like he escalates the amount of stupidity and he relies on other characters to be really dumb for everything to work out, you know? Like, what if Aruto just didn't do anything? Oh man.
Yeah.
Easy.
That's true. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because they gave him, or at least the story sets out for Aruto, like, by necessity, to do some really dumb stuff. Like, really disregard humanity. Like, oh hey, we could have you or any firefighter go in and save your friends, but no, we're gonna just make this a competition now, and you're just gonna have to go with it. Like, it really dumbs down a lot of our characters.
Yeah, and
though, like, I wouldn't say it did that as much this episode.
Yeah.
Because this, it's a more public stage, and there are a lot of factors out of his control, but it's still it feels like a rightful competition, just because you would need public opinion for your product to do well. So that just makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, because that's essentially what this whole plot boils down to. Do people prefer the Xi spec, or do they prefer human gears? Mm-hmm. Why not just ask the people themselves instead of doing like petty challenges to see like who does better in very niche situations that aren't really fair at times. Mm-hmm. So I was like totally down for this whole plot, and that was one of the reasons I was like slightly more positive in the episode, like towards the beginning. Mm-hmm. And having like a politician, an occupation that's known for being evil and corrupt, interacting with the human gear, that seems interesting. And then they bring out like this real crazy human gear, and it's like, oh, we got a whole new bag of worms right here. We don't know what's gonna like unfold.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing though. Like, they're not prepared for this political space, especially not with human gear. So like the odds are stacked against him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like, but when they had that song in the middle of the episode and like everyone was coming together and like dancing, I was just like, you know what? That's pretty fun. That's pretty neat. Let's just see like how this goes. But then he catches him, smuggling drugs or, getting some dirty money from somewhere.
Yeah.
That kind of came out of nowhere, to be honest.
It did. I had zero context for the situation going on at that moment. Like, you cut to that and you had to readjust, and just as you're adjusting to the situation in front of you, you're like, oh, everyone's here now to expose this dude. Good. I did not know that was like the driving force for this.
I'm pretty sure like the human gear was doing that like on his own accord, but like of course because they pulled it first, it backfires on them immensely. But like the way that the politician did it, like it reminds us a lot of like American politics, fake news, all that stuff. But like it was done in a very basic way where they put in like an obviously fake video.
Yeah.
It's super real for the public. Mm-hmm. Like it looked really I felt like that was pretty well handled. Like it was very realistic on the part of like the politician's part. So like I was like, okay, that makes sense. But then like the human gear kind of like flips out, which makes sense for his character. But at this point, we're just kind of like, come on, you don't have to. Can we stop doing this whole thing and have Thouser do that whole?
Yeah, that's where like my biggest dilemma. It's like, I understand he's the bad guy, he's supposed to do that. I'm not supposed to like this, but it feels like it's getting in the way of my enjoyment of this for some reason, because like we did not have to put the character, or like you set up this character to do this, and I feel manipulated by the show in a way. It's I don't know. I'm still trying to wrap my head around why I don't feel too happy about that being the case, because it's not that it was predictable. It was just that like I feel like Aruto can do better. I feel like the human gear can do better. And we don't need to continue to fall down this path and have this same plot of like, well, this one's just gonna go berserk. And like,
because it has to though.
The last few times it wasn't of their own accord, but this time it fully was. And if you're trying to make the point, if the main thing of the show is making the point that these guys are safe, these guys are helpers for humanity, this isn't helping. And also, you brought it up. Who made this guy? Who ordered this guy?
Yeah, like at a certain point, we're kind of.
Yeah, it feels like he's just going around doing whatever.
Yeah, because like it kind of goes against some of like the world building we've had before, where there was like a person who needed a human gear to do this one task. Like the first one is like for an amusement park, you need like a comedian to entertain the guests. So they kind of like programmed the AI to learn that stuff and just kind of like put it back out. And then we had like the manga artist or the manga assistant, the actor, like etc. But for this guy, he kind of felt like a free agent, which I mean, like some of the other ones were around there, Yeah. They didn't really come from anywhere. They're just like they just existed.
Yeah.
So, but this one with its personality, like, are you sure he didn't reach singularity or anything like that, like without anybody knowing? Because I'm pretty sure that was a significant plot point for the first part of the show.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, it is very strange that he just doesn't have anyone sort of connected to him. Like it goes against what feels like the structure and like the purpose he serves. I don't know how in universe you could have gotten there. So it really feels like they pulled out this character with a very volatile nature, seemingly out of nothing because he has no connection to anyone. Made specifically to put a wrench into this plot.
I mean, I think at towards the beginning of the episode, like even his vice president and them kind of like had their qualms about this, like sure. They're like, are you sure you want to like pick this type of person for your political campaign essentially? And she's like, yeah, because it's for the people, and I think like he'll reach the people like the best, and he did in the first part of the episode. But
he did.
I think like this show has been doing, every episode just showing the vice of human beings and kind of like how just to kind of like juxtapose that with like the human gears. Mm-hmm. Like we get that, but for this episode I just felt like they forced the hand a little bit too much. They did. And then we're just kind of like, oh, because
like they didn't need to make him go berserk of his own volition. I get that sort of the public needed to see that, but if they somehow like I'm sure there's a way without diminishing his character and like the overall reputation of the human gear to us, the audience, they could have just had Thouser secretly slap a belt on him.
Yeah. But like if that happened, like we would have just hated it even more. Just because like the asinine way that he does things.
But I feel like just his existence as a character spits in the face of what we know about human gear and about their kindness. And maybe it's supposed to be showing that the grip that Arc has over human gear is now strengthening in some capacity.
Oh, they gotta show it. I mean, they're heading towards there with the metal Geo form.
01.
But 01, same thing, same initials. But no, it's not the same initials.
No, it's not.
But like, it's getting too much. Like
Yeah.
You can only push this type of formula down our throats, you know.
Yeah. And you know what? Like, so would like I guess I was saying like, oh hey, maybe it's the arc enforcing its will a little more. It doesn't really that mending of his character in my mind doesn't really work because you have the other B plot of the episode with Fua. Oh hey, he has the thingy in his brain, and that's what made him into that Fanta person who he's actually like the secret helper. Which, aha, I knew it. I knew it. But it didn't. It didn't touch the rest of the episode. Like, sure, Fua showed up to talk with them a few times, but like, it didn't. The arc conflict never touched that really.
Yeah, it kind of feels like this is being slapped on top of it because maybe they know that the Thouser stuff isn't like the best. They're just like, hey, we brought back Jin and Hirobi. You guys like them, right? Personally, I'm hating Jin. Like, I get that
Which one?
he's that. Jin is the Phoenix Falcon. Yeah.
Pink. Yeah.
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 Like,
he's not doing anything.
Like, yeah, I get like he's like the playful villain and all that stuff, but like, you're not doing anything. Like, I also didn't like Palad, but at this point in the series, he was doing something and he had purpose. Like, he was still like a very strong character. This guy is like, okay, you're alluding to a plot that's gonna happen eventually, and I swear to God, like the last Kamen Rider series that did something like this hard was like Ghost, and you know what its plot was that it was alluding to eventually? A hot pile of horseshit. Like, we're not. I don't want to be heading towards that direction anymore because this is episode 28. You can't be dicking around for much longer because, well, one, we need Jin and Hirobi to do their stuff, and then we need to like probably like build up towards our final villain. If they decided that they want Thouser to be the final villain, then he has to at least make steps towards it. Like, I know that he's unveiling his plan for, a rider army, but like, really though, like, we don't even feel like it's gonna be happening anytime soon. Like, you're just doing it like one case at a time, at least for something like Build, where we did see like the hard smashes kind of like be a formidable like force. It doesn't feel like any threat.
I do want to say though, I feel like they're setting stuff up for after this arc is over. And once the arc is over, I feel like we can pass that judgment a little harder. But for now, I'm fine with holding back and it being the B plot. It's not really helpful. They're giving us little bits of information, but they're not doing too much with it. So I'm hoping that ramps up, and like I'm not too focused on the A plot that like I don't know. There's nothing grabbing me as much, you know.
Yeah.
But hey, you know what is grabbing me? The like 5 or 6 comments you guys put.
Really?
Holy crap! So yeah, there's tons of you guys decided to comment, so we'll just walk right through all of these. Our first comment comes from Rajik Rasul, who says, it's interesting that there's a chip in the brain in Fua and Yua questions. Wait. It's interesting that there's a chip in the brain in Fua and Yua questions what's the trigger word to it. It can be hacked. It's their mind in deep sleep. They not gonna remember what they did when they hacked, like the rap song that you think about it. Guy, that wrinkle old man, knows how to win over crowds. Excited to see next week Rampage Vulcan. I am excited for that.
I'm not sure anymore because they screwed up Yaiba's henshin so bad. Like, I wasn't
this episode, it's not like the reason I don't put too much stake in that that like presentation in Yaiba's was just because it's not a rider form technically. It's a dope form, don't get me wrong, and it is sort of based off of the shot rise system, but it's a raider and not a rider, so I kind of understand
Dude,
why
like
there
it was
wasn't as
so
much.
underwhelming that when Thouser Henshin, I was like 70% sure that he was gonna take the kill, even though she just got the report. Like,
Uh, oh, I equate them more to like the Night Rogues and Blood Starks rather than Rogues and Evols. But yeah. So yeah, thank you for the comment. Let's go to Yuki Miyazaki. That's a lot to read here. We've got a lot of comments. Let's do this fast. At first, I thought this episode will be okay with a weird rapping speech and the politician's plot, but man, I don't expect it to be this bad on the second half with Humagear being easily provoked and quick-tempered. This will end up making the arc even longer, and I think it will be more than just two-parter, but instead 3 or more episode. Stop that negative talk. I hate it. No, none of this. Because after what the preview shows us in the episode, and I don't like it, but gotta persevere. That's a strange thing to say for something you're supposed to like. I gotta persevere. Just wanted to point that out. I mean, it's very hypocritical on our ends because we say we enjoy Kamen Rider as well. Um, at least Yua is somewhat useful today with her new form, and I like the aesthetic that the suit have. I need more story focused on Fua and his relationship with the MetsuboJinrai.net because it's going to be interesting how they do his story moving forward. But knowing 01 current writing, I doubt it will get anywhere for now at least. Hope I'm wrong about it. Anyway, another okay episode from 01. Hope the show got turned around for the for the better, and also Cinder Blaze at the beginning. Big ooh!
okay, I saw that. I'm okay. I was tapped out at the beginning of that episode, and I switched back and I hear someone like talking. So I was like, you know, it was. I was like, oh crap.
If you haven't seen our watch along, now is the time. It's at the very beginning, and it's very good. Big oof indeed. Hui Hu commented saying, nah, next episode is the last of the competition, just in a reply. And then we have Andy L, who says, oh my god, he says a lot. And the shit show continues. Who would have thought? Every time the writers try to make dramas, they did it in a super stupid way. Like Guy already publicly standing, besides the senator, there are tons of legal ways to send the money. And why is it? That's true. You could have just Venmo'd the dude. You didn't have to give him a ton of. Well, I guess you couldn't Venmo the dude. That is like a social platform. But there are other ways of sending money, just not as blatantly as that. There are tons of legal ways to send the money. And why is it a problem? Why is it a problem those Zaya staff were there while their boss was literally up on the stage and accusing Hiden of more stuff? Really, writers? Are you trying to insult our non-13 audience? Your non-13 audiences? Hiden literally having a building tall of evidence and government agent slash police to testify. Zaya is being terrorist. You still saying Zaya is winning the people's vote and their image, huh? It's your fault, writers, to say that Human Gears record stuff. So remember it and write a better script. And then in parentheses, totally forgot the Snowflake rapper Human Gear, but FK it. They better say it got hacked next week.
Yeah, I think we didn't like mention it this time, but he should be in jail by now. Like he's out.
Absolutely.
He's totally out.
It is strange to me.
Okay, like just imagine if like X had walked down the street, stabbed someone in front of like a bunch of people, and just kept on walking. And like no one bats an eye. Like, come on, like there's got to be something done about that.
There's nothing clever about his cover up of any of it, and I do like. there are ways, I'm sure, to like write it so that he does seem a bit more sneaky and more careful with this stuff. But there aren't many ways of him doing that and Hidden knowing. Like, Hidden has to know how bad he is, and the audience has to know, but the public doesn't need to know, right? And you're stuck in this spot where um, you have to balance the two, and it really doesn't come out in Guy's favor, right? Because like I don't know, it's really hard to sort of voice what I'm trying to say. The point is like there aren't too many easy ways of getting them in the situation where they are now, where Aruto definitely knows he's an asshole. Like, if he's covering it up well, if Zai's able to cover it up well, then because the thing is, Aruto is a really hopeful guy.
Yeah.
He'll be more forgiving, and if he doesn't know the plot's going on, he's not going to actively investigate it himself. But he will if he knows he's evil. So he actively has to show him he's evil, which really flies in the face of what the public's supposed to know. I guess. Sorry, this is a very difficult thing for me to sort of voice, but I hope.
Don't worry, this arc will continue forever, so we have forever to talk about it.
Hey, let's move on to back again. I found this episode enjoyable. Oh, okay. Love the rapping scene, and we got a reason why Yua is Guy Pet, I guess, because he has chips installed in their heads, and it seems like we will be getting a new form for Vulcan, even though Yua didn't get a rider upgrade. The fighting jackal form does look good in my opinion. And can we talk about how Hirobi gave Guy a beatdown without any upgrades, which was fantastic seeing him back in action again. Honestly, I feel like he deserves an upgrade, and the fact that he doesn't have one is like the writers needed him to win in that situation, and it just happened whether he had an upgrade or not. He probably needed one though. What's wrong with you?
Nothing. I just read the rest of it.
Okay. Let's see. With how things went down this episode, I don't know if Aruto can pull through for a win. And Alex, that comment earlier, LMAO. Hell yeah.
I've already commented on that.
Fantastic. All right, here we go. We are ending off with Double the Unknown as usual. I get why you guys are frustrated with this show, but I'm still enjoying it. Fair. For now, at least. You have to remember that Hidden, under Aruto's leadership, has had a bad track record even before they started the competition. And check it out. Choosing to go berserk is just one of the many signs for people to believe Zaya over Hidden. This episode brought some answers like why the arc printed out the assault form for Fua and why Fua has been seeing things. Also, Yua finally won a battle, and there is only one more episode to this competition. It may not be as good as Kira Major right now, but it still has potential to be a great series. Just wanted to also warn you guys that leaks regarding next episode are out, so be careful on Twitter because several people are posting about it. Thank you so much, Double the Unknown. I know you understand that we are very picky about our spoilers, so I very much appreciate the forewarning. Yeah, no, I totally understand, and we could just be like very curmudgeon about this show at this point, just because we're sort of tired. And like it's really strange that like right next door Kira Major is killing it. I don't know. I am hoping it does get better. I don't want to arrive every week to dislike something. I genuinely want to enjoy it. I actively try to enjoy something. So it sort of sucks when it falls flat on that, which is why we're a bit rougher on this because we were enjoying it for the most part at some point.
Yeah.
Feels like a fall from grace recently, but I hope it gets back on track.
Yeah.
Alex, I'm done talking. Are you?
Same.
Cool. Good. You end the episode.
All right. Well, that's it. Make sure to like,
Make
comment,
sure-
all that other stuff. We'll catch you next time. Keep it juicy.
Wow, okay. Yeah, don't even mention the reviews that are going up for Hurricaneger and Power Rangers Ninja Storm going up at the same time as this. So go ahead and check that out if you're so inclined. And the watch-alongs as well. Side note, I worked really hard in trying to make the font match the actual show's font in the title watch-along and review, so please appreciate that if you could. Thanks for watching. Keep it juicy.
Yep. See ya.
Boy.
Sorry about that. I was just not paying attention right there because I have to shake shit right now.
Get out of here! Oh my god.